Hello, everyone. It is a pre-recorded conversation. I think that I have referenced this a little bit, but I joined this online group right in the heart of COVID in April of 2020. And I have gotten to know quite well a number of some men, but mostly women in this group, many of whom have joined me on this conversation. And this is another one of those. This woman, uh, so quickly as they all did, became this generous resource. She's much further down the entrepreneurial path than I am, and she's just such a joy. When I asked if she would join and she said yes, I was thrilled. So let's just bring her right to the camera. Please welcome my friend Tammy Gooler Loeb. Hello, Tammy.
Hello and cheers. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. It's every day that I do this, I feel like, wow, okay, it's getting closer. It's not that far away. And I both feel ready and think that I'm going to wake up on December 29th and go, what? So it's all right.
Oh my goodness, it absolutely is. And
Yeah.
in fact it's amazing. I love the way you're celebrating this. It's
Well,
such an important time in life.
thank you. And I will say um, it has been a mutually beneficial thing because I've gotten to connect with some people that I just have not connected with in far too long. You and I had this sort of great regular Zoom meeting that,
Yeah.
you published a book that took off. And so you've gotten busy and I've gotten busy and it's just been
Right.
far too long. So if it took me turning 50 for us to reconnect, then it's all worth it.
Absolutely. And then when you turn 51, we won't wait that long. We
No,
won't
we
wait
will
that long.
not. No, I think that's the goal. We will not get to 51
We
before
will
we've
not.
connected
We
again.
will not.
Okay, Tammy, let's jump right into the questions because I know your answers are going to be as interesting as everybody else's have been. Tell me one or two things that you knew before you turned 50 that have really served you well, 50 and beyond.
Ooh, I love it. So I'm going to go back to when I turned 40, actually.
Mm,
I think when I turned 40, there is something about decades. I will say I'm not somebody who always thinks of when I turn a certain age, I will become a
mm,
certain kind of person, or I will give myself permission to, reach a certain benchmark. But I will say that when it came to the decades, I did sort of give myself a kind of goal. So I
mm.
had a goal that by the time I was 30, actually, by the time I was 30, I wanted to have a master's degree. I don't know why. They're arbitrary, right? But by the time I was 30, I had a master's degree. And then by 40, I didn't have a plan for what 40 would look like. But when I hit 40, I said, I'm going to stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. I'm just going to stop worrying about it. And I don't know how much I was worrying about it already. I think it was just sort of a natural thing that we do. Many of us do. We just worry about, or we think we know what other people are thinking.
Mm, mhm.
And so I said, well, when I hit 40, I felt this sort of sense of, oh, like my shoulders went down a little more. And I just felt this
Oh,
sense of relief, like, yeah, I don't have to care. I just don't have to care what anyone's thinking. What I didn't realize at 40 that I think I realized more at 50, because I had another sort of renewal of that same realization at 50 was, uh, that was all made up to begin with, what I thought everyone else was thinking. I mean,
mhm.
yes, I knew what my mother was thinking because she'd tell me everything she was thinking. And she probably told me that everyone else was thinking these things. And she meant well overall, although some of it came across as kind of critical. But, it did do a number on me. But when I hit 50, I said, I think it's all made up. So
Mm.
I'm going to worry even less about it.
I love that. I have brought this up with a couple of other people, but this is a resounding theme that is showing up across many of these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend Linda Boyd said, I think the funniest thing, she said, I feel like at 50, you just can stop caring what other people think. I mean, not entirely, because if you do, that makes you a sociopath. I sort of love that because she's not wrong. I mean, you have to still live within the general confines of
Right.
society, but
Right.
I really appreciate this repeated mantra of just let it go. If you want to do it, go do it. If you want to be it, go be it. If you don't want to do it or be it, don't go do it and be it. It's
Right.
all okay.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
It's all okay. And if you want to say something, say something. And if it doesn't land the way you hoped it would, well, guess what? You can always check in with someone or
Yeah.
apologize. There's where's that expression? I forget what it is, but it's something like, go ahead and do something. You can apologize later or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's sort of that, better to ask forgiveness
Yes,
beg forgiveness than ask permission.
permission.
Boy,
Right.
we are not good aphorism tellers, Tammy. We'll just settle on that and move
I
on.
well, but I think people will know what we're talking about. And
Yeah,
again, of course, it's always with the best of intentions.
yeah.
And it's also with the intention of why not stretch ourselves? Why not even take a tiptoe outside of our comfort zone, if not a little further? Because we're trying to just live a full life. We're trying to explore and stay curious and open.
Mhm.
And and I think the older we get, the more we realize that a lot of the stuff that we've been thinking and things we would hold ourselves back from, it just doesn't matter because everyone else is really paying attention to themselves and we're busy worrying about what everyone else thinks anyway. They're not even thinking about us.
No, if I say all the time, nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you because they're busy thinking about themselves. Thank goodness.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
gift.
Yeah. And, we should just applaud one another for going ahead and stretching a little further and swinging wide and
Mm.
trying things, right?
Yeah, I will, I think correctly say this quote, which I do think is also germane to this conversation from Eleanor Roosevelt, "What other people think of me is none of my business."
I
I think that's really fantastic. Not
love it.
everybody has to like me. That's okay, and more to
Right.
the point, I don't really care.
Right, because that's on them, that's their
Yeah.
feelings.
Yep.
And, and yet there's a part of me that wishes I could have maybe, internalized some of that a little sooner. And yet because I did know a few, maybe a handful of people who seemed to operate that way at a much younger age and, but it is what it is, as they say.
Absolutely, and you can't go back, so what can
Nope,
you do? Yeah.
nope, nope.
Okay, so tell me then, if you can't go back, this is kind of a funny question in light of
Yeah.
that, but what do you know now you wish you could go back and tell your younger self? Anything beyond what we've just discussed?
Uh, well, I think it would probably definitely be more of the same. Um, and I think also that to tell myself that, some of the things that would get me upset or, some of the criticisms, let's say. My mother was a bit of a, I want to say a perfect, she was very loving, but she was also very picky.
Mm,
And to have found a way to realize the source of where everything was coming from, rather than finding myself just tied up in knots
mm,
sometimes over, um, some of the things because, I lost my mother when I was 44,
okay.
and so that was 18 years ago. So, there have been so many times over these last 18 years where I would have just been so thrilled to have her around. And even, even while she was still around, there would have been times where I knew we were losing her, and I thought, it would have been great to have her around. And there were so many years where I just felt so irritated by her
Mm,
that if I could have reframed some of that, it would have just made some things a lot nicer. But then again, it would have helped if she had reframed a few things too.
Yeah, we don't have to let everyone entirely off the hook. That
Oh,
is
no,
true.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Well,
No.
as I like to say, we all have to overcome our childhoods, even the good ones.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely. Yeah.
and you and I both know as mothers, she maybe was doing the best she could do. It might not have been what you would have wanted. I can say the same of my mother in a lot of instances, but gosh, my child can say the same of me. I hope he can. I hope he can settle on, boy, I think she did the best that she could do.
Yeah. 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 I think I've done very well in that department, actually.
Mm,
I have a wonderful relationship with my daughter, and I am sure there are things I could have done better. And that just, oops, makes me human.
right, right.
Um, but I think there's just something about, just appreciating ourselves for whoever we are with all our foibles, and just, sort of living with it as it is and saying, oops, okay, here I go. Put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all you can do. It's all
Right.
you can do. Try
That's
to do it
right.
a little bit differently, a little better, a little more, whatever, moving forward, if you want
Yeah.
to. And if you don't, then I guess everybody has to just deal with that.
Well, there's something actually, I was just talking to my daughter about this earlier today, and I've talked to her about this many times over the years, and she has shared with me that she appreciated it. And it's this whole theme about choices, the choices that we have. We don't always have the best choices, right? I mean, I know enough of your life story to know you've had to make a lot of choices in your life.
Mhm.
And, we all have choices to make. The nice thing is when we actually get to make choices for ourselves.
Mm,
You know? And even if we are faced with, let's say, two choices, three choices, and none of them are all that appealing, you still get to make that choice. And you get to step into that in a way that suits you best, even if it's not ideal. Um, I used to say that to my daughter when she was in high school, and she really wasn't interested in really any of the subjects in high school. And I could see she was just kind of dialing it in.
mhm.
And I said to her, look, you don't have to love anything in high school. You don't. But I expect you to do your best anyway, because if you do your best, that's going to afford you choices down the road. If you just sort of skim the surface right now and don't do as well as I know you can, it's going to limit your choices going
Mhm.
forward. And I really don't care if you like it, but you got to do your best so you have choices. And she remembers that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't go to a lot of high schools, but I go to a number of college classrooms, and when I'm talking to them, I sort of say the same thing. I shut so many doors early on to primarily the STEM fields because I just was not interested in them, and I cannot imagine me in any of those fields, in all honesty. So I don't regret that I did that, but it sure
Yeah.
shut a lot of doors
Mhm.
before I ever even had the chance to peek inside to see if it was
Mm.
something I might have been interested in. So I really appreciate that point. I was going back, I keep a paper calendar for all my Dana Del Val stuff just because I almost kind of use it as a journal as well. And I
Yeah.
went back to look at a class I took from Rashmir, who is, I know, through the same group as you,
Yeah.
and who's the motivation behind this whole 50 days to 50.
Oh.
Yeah, she sent out an email in November that was so inspiring to me. I thought, well, I want to do something around it too.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
great.
she helped in this. We did kind of a mindfulness thing, and what I walked away from that was to shift my language from I have to I get to.
That's
So
right.
it's sort of the same thing. There
Mhm.
are very few things in my life I have to do. There
Mhm.
are many things I get to do, and what a gift.
That's right. That's right.
Because so many women in particular have so few choices in the
That's
world.
right. That's
So
right.
it's shame on us if we stop and lose sight of the privilege of getting to choose. I love your point.
Absolute. Oh, I
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a chill just thinking about that. Some of the things I see on the news sometimes, some of the stories of what some of the women and girls are dealing with in some of the countries in the Middle East right
Yeah,
now. And
absolutely.
it just it breaks my heart. And I think that we have so much privilege here, even though, it's not a perfect place. But we still have a lot of options, a
Mhm.
lot of options. And
Yeah.
if we walk around, like an Eeyore, that's
Mhm.
on us.
Absolutely. Yes, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
last question,
Okay.
Tammy. Tell me some of the most joyful aspects of your life since you turned 50.
Well, let's see. Well, my daughter's always a joyful part of my life. I had her when I was 34, and I'm now 62. So I've had my entire decade of my 50s. I got to watch her graduate high school and go to college and make all kinds of wonderful friends and just enjoy her. And I also in my 50s joined the community that you and I are in, and I got to move my coaching business to a whole new place and start a podcast and start to write did I start to write my book? I guess I was 60 already, so that doesn't
Okay,
count. All right.
okay. You can go into your 60s because you've been, I mean, just 50 and beyond. That's great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing, I hit 50 and I thought I was just ready to keep going. I thought of it as I really did think of it as freeing me up in some ways, to just keep exploring and learning. And I think being very blessed to be doing work that I love and being very fortunate in that way, and to continue to keep learning and growing um, and having a life in which I can do that. I can't say more about that. And joining Dory Clark's community, recognized expert community, the last 5 years for me have been tremendous.
Yeah.
And all the people I've met along the way as a result of that and all the opportunities, it's just incredible. I mean, not just that I've met lots of people, it's not the volume, the kind of
Yes,
people like
they're
you.
incredible, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're smart, they're trying to do good in the world, and I'm not even talking about, saving the planet and this
Nope.
and that. I'm just talking about people who are just trying to spread something good in the world in on all kinds of levels. And it's not just, yes, they're ambitious, but they're good people.
Yes,
They're trying to really be good human beings. Um,
the
mm,
generosity of that group is the thing that I just come back to all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's wonderful because I like to give as much,
Mhm.
to that. So it's just very exciting to have those kinds of connections and to feel like I can just keep going and keep giving and finding new people that I can help with their lives and their careers, because that's what I love to do. Um, and, I'm at an age where some of my friends are starting to retire, and I hear a lot about all the things that they are going away from, but
Mhm.
I'm not hearing so much about what they're going toward. And I'm just thinking, I just don't have an interest in retirement. I'm just going to keep living a life of purpose, and it will change and shift, I'm sure, over time. But I just don't see this sort of demarcation in that way. I think it's more that things will shift and change over time, and um, that's the way it's going to be for me. I want to travel, keep traveling, and seeing parts of the world. I've had a chance to do that in my 50s, for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Well,
yeah.
this has been absolutely as glorious as I knew it would be, Tammy, and, now we're back in touch again, so we will stay in better touch in 2023 for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful continuation of your 50 days to 50.
Thank you.
Hard to believe.
It is.
And so much to celebrate, so much. I love all the pictures that you show up front too.
Thank you.
They make me melt.
It has been a real privilege to have these conversations. I count myself really, really lucky that so many great people showed up and are giving such compelling, honest, thoughtful, wise answers. That's exactly what I hoped for. So thank you for being part of that group, Tammy.
My pleasure. You bring out the best in all of us, Dana.
Oh, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.